Welcome to the Books, Beards, Booze podcast, where we talk books, drink booze, and have beards.
All right, so I'm still here with the ever awesome Brandon Kennedy. This is going to be our bonus episode where we talk a little bit more about Always Human, and the conversation may go in some weird directions that we're just leaving our options open.
Weird.
We're going to see how it goes, but we figured we would talk a little bit more about Always Human, and because it is such an awesome webcomic. I'll say, I've read a few webcomics over the years. Like I still read XKCD.
Yeah. And that's probably one of your more traditional structured ones as far as like panel.
I've also, pretty much everything I've read has been pretty traditional. Like XKCD, I'm trying to think of the one, the main character's a guy named Rain. I can't remember. He's a very bro kind of guy.
Control Alt?
No. It's not a nerdy pod, or not a nerdy comic at all.
Is it Loss? Is this Loss?
Mm-hmm. No, I can't remember. Oh, Least I Could Do. That's not Least I Could Do.
I haven't heard that one before.
I read Least I Could Do for a while. I read what's the it's a D&D one that has a pretty similar look to it to Cyanide and Happiness, but it's like an ongoing storyline.
I know what you're talking about. I've never looked at the name, but I've read at least like a dozen of those.
What's it called? I can't remember.
You can just say the podcast thing, or like we'll search it later and it'll be in the liner notes.
But here's the thing: I know me. I've said that a lot. I've said that a lot over the podcast, and I never go back and look at it.
Exactly.
So that's not going to happen.
We'll search it later, and it won't be in the liner notes.
Yeah, basically. But it's an ongoing, like, it's telling a consecutive story. You know, XKCD is like week to week. It can be, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's God knows what it's going to be. Least I Could Do is somewhat telling a story. The one I can't think of. The forums are like a hotbed for people talking D&D. I can't remember. God. All right, anyway. Yeah, so everything I've typically read has been more or less your conventional weekly, couple day a week webcomic kind of deal. Always Human was the first one I've read that's like this. That's kind of shown me what a web comic really can be. Like it kind of, I don't know, it pushed some boundaries a little bit. The art style was a step above pretty much any other webcomic I've ever read. Yeah,
I need to start agreeing instead of nodding because nobody can see me nod. Yeah. Like I'm not just sitting here like Bob talking to a wall.
He is nodding.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say nod.
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 But no, like it's incredibly beautiful. Was it Walking North?
Yeah.
I assume she's a woman.
She is.
From the comments.
Yeah, she's a interesting. I don't know how much like it ties into like caring about the author or anything. Yeah. But she's like bisexual and she's married to her husband.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people like comment on that of like her making the comment like, oh, how can you write gay characters? And it's just like, well, it's a story.
Yeah.
I can write people who aren't me.
Right. That's the point. No, she's great. But I think her strongest thing is drawing night skies.
Oh yeah, like so the comic is divided into 3 seasons or 2 seasons? 3 seasons. Bob's read this more recently than me. Yeah. It's been about
in last night.
Yeah, it's been about like 2 months. I reread through it about 2 months ago, but
I had read the first half of it like I don't know 2 years ago or like some nebulous time in the past, and then it was not anywhere near done. It was like halfway done when I read it. I read everything that it had, and then now it's done.
Yeah, season 2, she takes this different, like, watercolor, intense, I can't even describe it, but the backgrounds of season 2 and just, like, the scenery she starts, like, putting back there are just so awe-inspiring that they just captivate your imagination.
So good. And, like, I kind of compare it to Name of the Wind in that, to a degree, it's kind of the story. Really and truly, nothing really happens. Not really. Like,
whoa! I feel like you just set Derek on fire someplace.
Well, no, he'll agree with that. Part of the beauty of Name of the Wind is nothing. It's not that nothing really happens, but like the stakes, like whereas like your normal fantasy, you're like, oh my god, this kingdom just fell. In Name of the Wind, it's like, oh my god, his loot got broken. You know, like it's such a different stake. Like the level is at a different level. And like with this, it's like this is not, oh my god, we're done, we're over, or oh my god, you're cheating on me. Like it's romance, but it's like the stakes are just as high because it is romance, but like
the stakes are really, do you understand me?
Yes, yes. It's all like if every relationship went like theirs, people wouldn't break up, or if they did, it'd be for the right reasons.
Yeah,
like
just like we're incompatible.
Yeah, like it was beautiful to read because like, wow, man, this is why I'm single.
Because nobody understands you, Bob.
Right, but it's so perfect. Like I don't know, you really just need to read it. I realize it's not going to be for everyone. Like if you don't like romance, at its core, it is a romance story, and not a lot happen. Like drama in this is not, oh my god, my friend got murdered. Drama in this is, oh my god, my friend's moving away. You know? Like that's the drama here. It's lower stress.
So would you have like 3 things you can name off the top of your head that would be like your favorite parts of the book, and then like 3 of your least favorite? Or maybe you should do your least favorite first and then end on the things you like.
Favorite. We're gonna,
or 2, just 2.
No, here's my spoiler warning. If you haven't read it, skip the next 30 seconds. Her best friend, how her best friend goes behind her back to be like, hey, you need to go talk. You need to go to her parent. Like, I know she's on vacation. Go talk to her. She's about to make a stupid decision when she's talking about if she's going to take the job in space.
Yeah.
And there's no real repercussion for that. Like, she violated her friend's trust and refuses to apologize for it. Like, that's where I was like, she's like, I know I did a fucked up thing, but I refuse to apologize for it. And that chapped my ass. Like, I was like, at work, a lot of times I will read like the Justice Boner subreddit or the Pro Revenge subreddit. I'm big on like justice, and like I don't think that justice was served there. I did not like that. I mentioned in the main podcast how like the boyfriend of her parents like was in like 3 scenes before you ever realize that that's who they are. And it was like, I think I kind of would have liked to have known that earlier. It was cool, and they're like, well, it doesn't really matter, but I think it would have helped my understanding a little bit more if I'd known it sooner. Like, why is she going to this person asking for advice?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I didn't quite get. When it was happening, like, I don't quite get why you're going to that person. That's what I didn't like. I mean, and that's kind of stretching, because there was not a lot.
That's not big at all.
Yeah, what I loved, it seemed very real. Both characters were very flawed, like in relatable ways, but not to the degree where it's like, oh, well, fuck that person. You know? Oh god, it's so annoying how flawed they are. Like, sometimes you come across a character and you're just like shouting, like, why are you the way that you are? Like, these people is like, okay, that's a flaw. And that does kind of, okay, that sucks. But you're never like, fuck that guy, you know? I really liked the way it normalized non-heteronormative relationships. That was great. And the artwork, really. I mean, that pastel palette that she used was just amazing. Here's my third critique. And I read 87 panels of this last night, and I now can't remember either one of their names. but the one I can remember the disease the girl has, but I can't remember her name.
Austin.
Austin. All right.
Yeah.
So Austin has Egan's disease, and so she can't use these Basically, the instigating factor of this comic is Austin has Egan's disease. She cannot use these nano-derived mods that people use to... Most people use them to, keep themselves healthy so they can eat as much as they want to stay in shape and in fit. But, to color their hair instantly or to have a tattoo that's removable, stuff like that. She cannot... Her immune system is too strong. It fights off any mod. So she looks the same every day. And the other main character... Sonati is all about these mods. And I would like to see more variation in her look. She only changes her look once over the course of it. Well, when she comes back from space, it's different. But that was because she had to go into space. She had to remove a bunch of these mods. But she only changed her look once, and I would have... the first, 2 panels, it showed, here's how I looked 2 months ago. Here's how I looked 2 weeks ago. Here's how I looked last week. And then, she starts dating Austin, and she had her reasons for not changing it at first, but once that hurdle was crossed, I would have liked to see more variation in her look.
Okay, yeah.
So, but that's very minor quibble.
Yeah, so. I can agree with that. If I had to critique it, it's not a lot I could find to critique it with, because once again, it's a very well done series. The only thing I kind of wish I would have loved to see a little bit more commentary on people, because a huge thing in the world is virtual reality. Tsunadi's job is programming virtual reality environments.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see a little bit of comment on the people who choose to wholly engage with these environments, and because for their first date, Tsunadi takes them on a virtual date rather than a actual date.
Yeah,
I would love to see a commentary on people who choose to what, this is the life I'm going to embrace, because even now with how little virtual reality we have in our real lives, that's a huge part of some people's lives.
She went the other way with it, she showed here are people who completely don't use any, here are the naturalists, who don't use any mods, they live primitively, but it didn't show the flip side of that. And honestly,
I would have loved to see them side by side of a positive future of what's the best of the naturalists and what's the best of the
it's one of those
VR.
deals I think it would be, because a lot of cyberpunk shows that but people who go all in on it, but a lot of time it tends to be very negative. Yeah, and I wonder if it's just harder. It's easier to show here are some positive aspects of people who live the way that we live today.
Yeah,
but then it's here are people who only live in virtual reality. It's a little harder maybe to come up with the positives of that. Maybe
exactly.
So,
it's just a teeny.
Yeah, but no, that would have been neat. The more world building she wants to show here, I'm all about it. It's a fascinating world. I liked what she had going on here with everything. So,
and I absolutely loved Tsunadi and Austin's relationship.
Yep.
And the only other teeny tiny critique I'll have, there's a moment in the story where Austin is picking out new mods for Tsunadi to change her looks, and Tsunadi's hey, make me however you want me to look. And she's okay, are there any things that you don't want to change? And she gives her a small little list, and among the list is she says
my parents don't want me to change my
the skin color.
Yeah.
And it's just I kind of wish that would have been addressed a little differently, of just I'm just black because my parents want me to be black, of just would have been nice to see a different aspect of it, of just either Austin approaching of I like you, like this, or it's this is something that I'm kind of proud of. But
I'll admit, when I was reading it, that was an odd note.
Yeah.
In the musical tapestry that was this story, that note rang a little out of place. It's like,
and I would have even liked a scene of her talking to, like, Austen talking to her parents of, like, why that's an important factor for her.
Yeah.
But it you know, doesn't get addressed of, like, why that's important.
Yeah.
And I mean, in real life, we know why it's important because racist people exist.
Right. But it's one of those deals, like, this is a very light, airish kind of world. And, like, I think part of the strength of it is, like, differences are treated as like it's nothing, you know. It's whatever. Like, her friend basically comes out as asexual, and it's like, well, I don't, whatever. You know,
like, I don't think I want to kiss anybody. And it's like,
cool.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna go kiss this guy. What does it matter? Like, you know, more for me. Have at it. But like that, and I think that's why that kind of rang but it rang oddly with me, because it's like the whole point of this, or one of the major points of this comic, is to show like differences like that don't matter. And for that, it just kind of seemed kind of weird. You know? I don't know. It just seemed a little out of place with no further explanation. Like, I would have like you said, some explanation would have made that click a lot more, I think.
Two things I loved about this comic. Gosh, there's so many. So what are the two things I loved the most? I have one of my favorite scenes is when Austen and Tsunade are comparing baby pictures of Austen. It is the best scene. Yeah. And then, you know, of course, you know, she finds out about her birthday and everything.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, and just like the moment shared between them. And then I think if I had a second favorite, it wouldn't be a scene.
Quick addendum to that. I like how, because they didn't actually compare birthday pictures.
Yeah.
It was Tsunade saw Austen's.
Yeah.
And then Austen was like, well, when do I get to see yours? He's like, oh, yeah, I'll show them to you. And the whole comic ran, and it didn't happen. And apparently a bunch of people, like, wrote in, and the Tsunade's baby pictures do get shown, but...
as, like, one of the bonus
as, like, a bonus thing. Like, she drew in a, like... Because she did, like... that's another thing, that like the strength of this webcomic format. Like with a book, like if you're halfway through a book, you don't get a Q&A session with the author.
Oh yeah, you know? Yeah. And that's and probably should have mentioned that on the main episode, that you can write this lady on her Tumblr, you can write her on Webtoons, or you can email her and she'll respond to you. Yeah. You know, she's responded to three questions I've sent her.
Yeah, she did a couple of Q&A sessions where she arted the answers. You know, like it was like asking a question and was having Tsunade or Austen answer the question, like drawing the answer. You know, so that's another real strength to this format, is just how rapidly you can have contact. It's almost like a podcast where you can email the podcast every week at booksbeardsbooze@gmail.com. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Or leave us a review on iTunes. Ooh. Actually, I think our only iTunes review right now is written by a certain Brandon Kennedy.
Oh, is it me? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think you're our only iTunes review.
Okay, nice.
Most of our listens come off Podcast Addict.
Okay.
But iTunes is number 2.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, the higher the rating, the better your stars, so I'll finish this real quick before I hit this side note.
Yeah.
My second favorite thing about this, it was just on the top of my mind. I think, you know what, you brought up something else that that I didn't even think about. I'm going to say the Q&As and how reachable the authors are for most of the people that support these comics. And that could just be because Webtoons is like a smaller thing right now of how reachable they are. But for the most part, like just how much you can interact with the person creating this and get extra information about it.
Well, I'll say this: like even take the comic out of the web aspect. There are, if you go to the fantasy subreddit, you will see recommended over and over and over 2 web serials. The Wandering Inn and Worm. Now, I'll say this. The Worm has amazing reviews from pretty much everyone I've seen who reads it. Mm-hmm. But it's a web serial. This guy was cranking out an outrageous amount of words every week. Like, he was writing a chapter a week, and each chapter was, I want to say, like 5-10K words or some ridiculous
shit.
Good like,
Lord.
It was crazy. I haven't read it, but you should check it out, though. It's a superhero.
Okay.
About a person who gets a superpower.
And we're going to come back to that because my book's about superheroes. Right? That's what I wanted to addendum.
So Worm gets recommended all the time. Wandering Inn gets recommended too, but from what I've gathered, the first like 200,000 words of it are just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it gets really good. It's more of a lit RPG, which I don't know if you know much about lit RPG.
I don't.
Lit RPG is it's fantasy books that read like a video game.
Okay.
Kind of deal. And it's not quite for me, but
everybody's on peach and pie. But so addendum onto the superhero book. My book's Behind the Mask on Amazon.
Yep.
Somebody that I don't know left a 5-star Amazon book review on it.
Nice.
And I was just it's got one review, and I was just like, who are you? Yeah. How did you find this? And thank you so much. Because I was expecting like a 1-star review of like, it was garbage, here are the elements of it that didn't work, and I'd just be like, thanks for reading it. Yeah. But it's like one person read it and enjoyed it, and
I have, on my books online, I have 1-star review. And it came from my neighbor.
He's always up at night playing all his music.
I confronted her about it. I ran into her at Gump City Comic Con. It was an old neighbor of mine. Mm-hmm. I confronted her about it. Like, so you really hated my book? Like, bad, trashed it. We had to talk about it. It's cool. Like, it's fine. Like, if you don't like it, cool. I would think that my neighbor, just for being my neighbor, would give me 2 stars. But wow, she hated it.
Oh my goodness gracious.
But by and large, most of my reviews have been 4 and 5.
Yeah. I just will say,
and like, for people who are listening out there, like, I say this a lot, and like no one ever seems to. Everyone's kind of like, I feel like people like hear me say this, and they're just like, yeah. You have no idea how important reviews are.
Yeah, like, and that's what I was going to say.
No idea.
Leave a review, because even if you don't move the podcast, the book, or whatever you're reviewing up or down in the ranking system, it means so much to the author to like just see that, and it's like, oh, this is your opinion. Well, great, that's stuff I can address.
Well, here's something like prime example. All right, Amazon, little known fact. If you get 50 reviews on like a book like that, they'll feature it. Like, they will.
Okay.
I think if you can get to feature.
All right, guys, the book is Behind the Mask. I don't care if you read it. Here's a spoiler.
I have literally said a book given away. So like, you're on Amazon. And you know how you can set like, hey, this book will be free on these days, or it'll be reduced price on these days. I've done it to where like I have a 99-cent self-help book called Create Your Way to Freedom. And it's basically just like, the core message behind it is, you're a creative person. Cool. So is, 2 billion other people out there. If you want to be successful as a creative person, you have got to do more than just create. You have to be creative in how you get your brand out there, basically. Like, maybe you start a podcast called Books, Beards, Booze. Maybe you write a self-help book called Create Your Way to Freedom.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, like, and I've given it away. I made it to like number. I think the highest I ever got was like number 7 on the charts on Amazon for like self-help, like the free charts for self-help books. I made it like number 7 or something like that. Like, I was pretty up there. Like, so you think like, okay, well, hey guys, all my friends who downloaded this for free, could you please just go leave a review? I think to this day I have 9 reviews on there.
Nice.
Like, and it's like, it's so easy. It's so easy. Like, I gave you the book for free. Like, just go leave. Like, I don't even care if it's a 1-star. Just go leave me a review. And I will say this: I have had people leave reviews that if Amazon thinks that they're a friend of yours, Amazon will just delete it. Like my brand ambassador, Ryan, he would try and leave reviews and Amazon would delete it because we had shared wish lists on Amazon. Okay. And so Amazon's like, oh, well, y'all are connected. So they would delete his messages out of hand. Which to me is kind of bullshit because people can leave, like, oh, well, you see it all the time. Like, I reviewed this book. They gave me this book for free, and I agreed to review it. Here's my review. Like, that's okay. Like, they gave you the book for free, but my friend who bought the book can't review it.
Well, he's not allowed to have an opinion on it.
Right.
Because he's not going to be fair about it.
So
little do they know you're friends, Bob.
Right? But that's the thing. Is like, you would think, like, oh, hey, guys, could you just leave a review? And people just won't. People won't do it.
Now, I will admit, I'm in that boat, but it's only because I bought your book of those short stories from the Wolf World.
Yeah.
And I only got one story into it. I never finished it because I'm ADD.
Yeah.
And so I'm one of those people who bought your book but haven't reviewed it.
Yeah, well, actually, I took that book down. You couldn't review it. I took it down.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I knew that, and that's why I didn't review it. So,
right. No, those books had like a few reviews, but I ended up taking them down because I just want to, like, God damn it, they can be
they can be better. They can be better. I mean, even with Behind the Mask, like reading through it, I found like 2 typos. Yeah. I mean, if anybody else finds any, just message me. Yeah. And I can always upload like another version of it, but I think like that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, because it's print on demand. So if he uploads a new copy and you order it after that, it'll have the updates. Like, you don't. Yeah. There's no versions like that.
So one thing I wanted to talk about, if we have time to keep talking.
Yeah, sure.
So
this is a bonus episode. That if they want to listen, they can listen. If they don't, fuck them.
Yeah. You can't say F your own audience.
I apologize, audience. But if you don't want to listen to Brandon Kennedy, well, I'll be frank. Fuck you a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit.
He's one of my favorite people. So.
Thank you. You're one of my favorite people, Bob.
Well, to be fair, I'm everyone's favorite.
But one thing, so we're talking about like alternative media for storytelling. I wanted to get into alternative storytelling. And one thing that I do a lot, a huge part of my life is my...
I would argue 98% of his life.
Yeah, 98% of my life is Dungeons and Dragons on YouTube and live streaming, the sessions. And a lot of people think like, oh man, you're just getting together to play games. And it's like, well, no, this is a collective storytelling role-playing game. We're having fun and we're creating something.
Yeah. The 2 campaigns I'm running right now, the point in me running these campaigns is I wanted to play some D&D. I really wanted to run some D&D. And I came up with a concept
for it.
That's
A and A sub 1.
Right, yeah. And B, I came up with a concept for a world that I want to write a novel in, and I'm using this to explore the world. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
I'm not looking. Neither one of these campaigns is going to be the story of a novel, but I am like, as people are like, oh well, hey, I want to make a character that's this. Well, cool. Yeah, I can. Let's figure it out. Like,
yeah, how's that work?
I would never have thought like, for example, I have a race in this world called the Aeonis. They're not shark people. They believe they have shark blood in their veins. They're basically a primitive barbarian tribe that live on this archipelago, and they're big and strong, and they believe that they have shark blood in their veins. And every tribe picks a shark as a totem. And it's one of those deals like, basically all I had was like, oh, well, they worship the god shark, Mantau. And so then, like, I had players that were making characters that were this. And like, well, what's my totem? I was like, I don't know.
What hammerhead.
And like, I had one person pick goblin shark, which is a really cool, rare shark. And then another person Derek picked tiger shark, so he could have cool, like, tiger stripe tattoos. Yeah, look at the picture of goblin shark. They're crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I had to Google search a goblin.
Yeah, they live like way down deep, super deep. crazy cool. Anyway, and like stuff like that, like so, like we've been fleshing out their culture, as these people are playing it. And they'll ask me questions like, "Oh, well, what? Like, what would they do?" It's like, "Well, I don't know. I've never thought about that. Let me think about that." Or let's come up with it. Let's create it together.
And that's one of the most fun things about like D&D is using D&D as like a medium for storytelling.
It's communal storytelling.
Yeah. As in that just deep dive into the world of like you don't really you make your world and you don't really think about this like tiny aspect until people are like, what about that tiny aspect? And you're just like, that speck over there?
Oh no! Like for those of you who haven't played D&D, especially if you've never run D&D, 100% whatever you have put the least amount of thought into, that is guaranteed to be what your players sprint towards and want to do the most with. One of my campaigns, they crashed onto an island.
Yeah, and you told me the story.
That's how the campaign started. They crashed onto this island, and I thought I came up with every little avenue for them to explore. And I got on there, and it's like, why don't we go see about teaming up with these pirates? Which is the one thing it never occurred to me that they would even try to do. And it's like, I got to think, I was like, that will fuck up everything. And so then it's like,
on that note,
God damn you, Keith.
They're the group that I mentioned earlier. It's Group D, and their story is called Brothers in Arms on my YouTube channel, and it's about the group that is in the capital city of this country that's engaged in a civil war. And what happens is they have a force in the capital, 30,000 strong. They expect an army of 5,000 people marching on the capital. To the south of the capital is a force of another 20,000 that is not an enemy of the capital, but they're not an ally either. They're just neutral, and they're just sitting there waiting to see what happens. Yeah.
Okay.
So the capital's expecting to clash with the 5,000 marching. And the 5,000, the day they arrive at the capital, turns into 23,000. That another group joined this army and contributed forces.
Yeah.
And so 23,000 soldiers are parked north of the capital. 20,000 are south of the capital. The capital has 30,000 in it. And it's a nation of just barbarian warriors, of just people who conduct warfare. And so as this is happening, one of the little tiny stories I planned for the group is, and for the most part, the group has been neutral good. And they've been working hand in hand with the ruler of this country. They got her the throne and everything, and they're trying to keep the country together. And one story I plan is this country puts no stock into its mages, and magic's a huge thing. And Dungeons and Dragons, and then it made me think of how magic affects my setting. And so the court mage walks up to the magnate, who is just magnate's the ruler of the country, and says, "Hey, you're new to this position of power. Nobody has ever put faith in our services that we provide you. I've warded your entire castle against teleportation. They have set up here. We've scryed on them. We've divined on them. And they did not ward against teleportation. Let me show you how powerful magic is. I can take a small elite force, teleport there while they're sleeping, and murder their leaders in their sleep." And the group's been neutral good this whole time. So and this is a villain in disguise, the court mage that I put in front of him, and they're obviously it's the most horrific, because this nation wages honorable warfare. It's one of the identities of the nation, and so obviously it's the most horrific option that I expect everybody to say no to. And so she makes that suggestion, and the magnate looks to the group and says, "Well, you would be the people I send to do that. Is that something you'd even consider?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, let's do it. That's great." And I'm like, "Oh God, you guys are gonna do this?" And so everything.
Let me frantically plan how this is gonna go out.
Yeah, everything from that episode on, and that's episode 13 or episode 12 of the story, and it climaxes and concludes in episode 15. Everything from that point on is the most wild, fantastic storytelling I think I've ever done in my entire life. I'm just like, oh, well, and the final episode, in ways that I never expected the story to go, concludes with a ghost apocalypse raiding the capital city.
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like those moments that you don't get from your own brain, but from like ideas ping-ponging off of other people. Of just like, oh yeah, of course good people would never want to do this. It's like, whoa, good people do want to do that.
Yeah. So a future bonus podcast is going to be happening is I will. The plan is to be doing once a month, because Derek is in both of my campaigns. Our plan is to do one time a month, recap what all happened in our D&D in both campaigns. But I don't think anyone who's in my campaigns actually really listens to this, other than Derek.
Derek's just like, I love hearing me talk.
I don't think he'll listen to this. I don't know. Maybe he will. We'll see. Derek, if you listen to this, say avocado the next time you see me. No, it's one of those deals. Like I had a player last session completely guess what I had planned. Like they've shipwrecked on this island. The island is kind of locked in stasis. Like there's pirates on one half, lizard folk on the other. Neither is strong enough to destroy the other. The pirates can't leave though, because they cannot repair their ship because the lizard folk camp is near the ship. So they're kind of stuck. Well, the players have got wind that the pirate captain has a plan to eliminate the lizard folk. And one of my players, Keith, was like, I bet he's going to put some gunpowder in the volcano and cause it to blow up. And I'm just like, motherfuck. Which to be fair, they're... Because Keith's not going to hear this, but... Spoiler, I don't know how much you know about actual volcanoes. Like, a mostly dormant volcano, you cannot just cram a barrel of gunpowder in there and cause it to blow up.
Yeah.
But pirates aren't smart, and the pirates are going to try and do that. That is definitely their plan. Gunpowder, make the volcano blow up. It's not going to work, though. But it was like, God damn it, he guessed the pirate captain's plan, like, right on. I played it off, like, yeah, cool, okay, yeah. Sure. We'll see. I was like, God damn it. And at the end of the session, like, they saw some stuff that kind of clued them in that Keith had guessed correctly, but I was like, you son of a bitch, Keith.
And one of the things, like, too, for my campaign, so the court mage, and this is a wild and wacky story, and not wacky as in silly, but just like, whoa. So what happens and this is the second set of campaigns. I'm going to try and summarize all this in sentences. The first campaign, the leader of this country is killed.
Okay.
Moving into the second campaign, he has 3 sons, and he had a daughter and his wife. His daughter and wife died before he took the throne. 2 of his sons were killed in the assassination that killed him. So the youngest son out of all of these people is now in charge of the nation. Nobody likes the youngest son.
Who does, though?
Yeah. They think he's a part of a cult because he practices his faith in privacy, always alone. And an assassin comes after and kills the youngest son. And so before that happens, though, before the assassin kills the youngest son, it turns out the original leader of this country knew that his family would become targets for assassins. His 2 oldest sons were both well versed in the sword, old enough to be fine on their own, but his daughter was a baby when he was elected the ruler of this country.
Okay.
So he smuggled his daughter out of the country to the...
Oh, I remember you telling me a little bit about this. Yeah.
And so the daughter, he faked her death, smuggled her out of the country. The players find the daughter, and after the prince is killed, they're just like, hey, this lady is the rightful ruler. We need to give her the throne. So now what hasn't been unveiled in the story, the court mage is actually his wife. she legitimately died of a plague, and a cult resurrected her, and she gained enlightenment through her death. And so she has been... As most people do.
Yeah. You know.
And so she has been secretly inside of the castle, corrupting their son, who was the prince who worshipped the cult.
Yeah.
And needing him to do something for her, but he was assassinated before that happened. And so she did not know her daughter was still alive until the players found her and unveiled her. Nobody in the country knew except for like 5 people who the players just accidentally stumbled on because they're just like, we're going to walk this way. And it's like, well... so anyways, she finds out her daughter's still alive, and this is like the wonderful ways a story can change.
Yeah.
And the woman's name is Alice, and the dead wife's name is Celia, and Alice is just Celia backwards. And so, for like 2 sessions, nobody guesses anything. Like, as this woman is just weaseling her way, like, nobody guesses anything until somebody's just like, Alice is her mother, isn't it? And I was just like, on what evidence? And he's just like, I'm just guessing. And I'm just like, who knows? And I'm just like, shut up. But it's funny because the final campaign, moving into the next one, she curses her daughter's womb and basically makes... and nobody knows like what the curse does at this point. But she curses her daughter's womb, and the reason the mother was resurrected was so essentially she could give birth to the Antichrist. And the plague...
Which that's basically any child under 2.
Yeah.
So...
And the plague wrecked her reproductive system, so she needed her son in order to, have another child to do it. But finding out she had a daughter, it's like, oh, this is great. You can take my place. But anyway, so she curses the daughter. Nobody knows what the curse does, and they don't really know that it's a curse. But just in talking, the players start, putting the things together of just, so what did that black thing do that she is just, who knows? It's like, well, it was on her stomach, right? Did she, is it like a curse? Did she curse her womb? Is she gonna give birth to an evil baby? And I'm just like, shut up, players.
Yeah. No, I in one campaign ever did I make a prophecy. I had this elaborate prophecy that was given to the players, and then next session they and this prophecy is supposed to last them a while. It's this prophecy is supposed to cover the next 8 levels of this campaign, and they solve it in the next you reference night and day, I bet you that's that tower and that tower. It's no, it's not. It was a shit show.
You ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh man, so there's this great episode of Yu-Gi-Oh where I think that's the only time anybody will ever say that sentence.
Okay. Probably.
Yeah, so there's this great episode where one of the people, and Yu-Gi-Oh, for the people who don't watch it, is a card game, and the anime was a cartoon show about this kid who played this card game against other people for high stakes things of this card game could suck in people's souls and things like that. And, the fate of the world was dependent on
I always kind of felt like it was a better, more complex Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
But it never quite caught onto the...
Yeah, the
Gestalt consciousness of American culture like Pokemon did. Pokemon came first,
But there's this episode of Yu-Gi-Oh where the enemy he's facing... can read the opponent's mind. So it's hard to play a card game, a strategy card game, where the opponent knows your strategy. Play, yeah. But Yu-Gi-Oh had this thing where inside of this little relic was the soul of this ancient pharaoh that invented this card game, and it would possess his body and play the card game for him. And so in order to beat that opponent, what he'd do is he'd have the pharaoh play all the cards and then turn back into the little kid, and then the guy would like, oh, I'm gonna read your mind. It's like, you can't read my mind because I have no idea what these cards are face down. That's nice. One of the strategies I took to the puzzle inside of my D&D campaign. I created this numerical word puzzle, and it's a 5-word puzzle that it's something like I never considered unraveling codes unlocked. It's a 6-word puzzle, and I had a key to solve it that says it's like 11256 is the key I have, and I knew when I created this puzzle how to solve it. Of just like, oh yeah, this is like how.
Yeah,
this
you forgot.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is, and so I gave it to the players, and they're like, "Wow, this is really hard." And it's like, okay, well, we can use our normal strategy, just asking Brandon questions until he gets silent. And I'm just like, nope, you can't, because I don't know the answer. You're gonna have to figure it out if you want to find that puzzle out.
Nice. I feel like we got a little sidetracked there.
Okay.
But no, it's all good. I got a good buzz going. I've drank a fair amount. I've drank a fair amount of Heaven Hell.
Do you want some water?
No. Oh God, no.
Oh God, water! Ugh. How dare you? The only hydration I need is more alcohol.
Fish pee in that.
Oh
okay?
yeah.
So, fuck water.
Can I give you a secret? I pee in water.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. D&D is, I would argue, probably the best, most consistent form of communal storytelling.
Yeah. Definitely.
And if you've never played, now is the time to play. I mean, D&D is blowing the fuck up, really. Like, get in while the getting's good. Everything, like, Wizards shit the bed hard in 4th edition. I mean, hard. But 5th edition, they have nailed it.
Yeah.
They have absolutely nailed it. They've just gone from strength to strength. I think when I get home today, I have Volo's Guide to Monsters, maybe.
Oh, you ordered on Amazon?
Yeah.
It is a pretty book. I've got it sitting over there.
I flipped through it. I flipped through it at Books A Million, and then went to Amazon to order it because it was like $15 cheaper.
Now, I was going to buy In the Name of the Wind from Books A Million when they had their penny a page sale.
I didn't find out about that till like 9:30 that night, and they closed at 10.
Yeah,
and I was like 45 minutes away.
Oh man, that hurts.
Yeah.
But I went that morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to read this book, so I'll just buy it this. And then I was just like, wait, it applies to D&D books? And so I bought a $50 D&D source book, Mordenkainen's Tomb of Foes. And then I called all of my family in the city, and I was like, come to Books A Million, stand in line, and buy me a $50 D&D book for $2, and I will give you the money for it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that, but I have a bunch of source books that
Volo's made more sense for my campaign.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll kind of wrap it up here. I feel like probably some people have quit listening, but it's whatever.
They're talking about D&D and gay webcomic characters.
Yeah.
I'm out.
We will definitely be doing some D&D specific podcast content, but it'll be bonus podcast content. God, I just had a thought, but what was it? I'm a little drunk. Anyway, again, I strongly encourage you to go out and check out Brandon Kennedy's work. I have seen him do stand-up comedy numerous times. He has just gone from strength to strength. Please go check him out. I'll be honest, I haven't watched any of his D&D stuff because I just don't have the time.
Hey, I will say it's hard to watch right now. I'm in the process of finding a method to make it more digestible as content. So 4 of the campaigns are on pause as we do that. If you have any suggestions, or if there's a way that you wish you could watch D&D, message me.
I'll tell you. Here's my quick aside. So there is there's a guy. I can't remember his name.
I know a guy
shit for this. He did I've always loved the World of Darkness. Vampire, werewolf, Vampire the Masquerade, werewolf, yada, yada, yada. Well, they killed the old World of Darkness, did a new World of Darkness. I don't know if you know this, but anyway. Neither here nor there. There's a guy who wrote some of the rule books for it. And he ran some campaigns in this and posted the summaries on LiveJournal to date how far back this is.
Yeah.
And you can still find them. And he made linked posts. Like, here is every arc. It's like, here's session 1, like arc 1, session 1, arc 1, session 2, arc 1, session 3. Here's arc 2, sessions 1 through 6. Here's arc 3, sessions 1 through 4. And they were just written summaries of them. And for someone like me, I love reading how campaigns play out, but I do not have the time to watch them. I don't watch
Critical Role.
I don't watch C-Team.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff. I don't have fucking time. I am too goddamn busy. I have books to write. I have podcasts to record, etc., etc. I'm too fucking busy to watch 20 hours. Yeah, 20 hours of this, or a 3-hour session. I don't have time. But maybe something for you to do is still record and post the podcast, but maybe just especially if you had someone who was like Derek. He's never coming back from South Carolina because he hates us.
Yeah.
But if Derek did return from South Carolina, one of those deals where if he was watching your thing, if y'all could record a little video summary, here's a 10-minute where we just talk about what happened, a little more digestible, and then if it really some people, if it interests them, they'll watch the full 3 hours. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's Bob's 2 very buzzed drunken sense.
One thing that I try and do at the start of every episode, I'll summarize the last 2 episodes in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Of just hey, if you're just joining us, here's everything you need to know.
Yeah.
And so
there's that. I don't know. Just for people like me who is basically too long didn't read.
Yeah. Yeah. TLDR.
Videos. Yeah.
TLDR. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
There's my thought. Anyway, as always, please email us at bookspiritsbooze@gmail.com.
Definitely send an email or a review, because if not, we'll find you and we'll break a kneecap.
Please, if you liked Brandon being on here, let me know. I would love to bring him back on here. But if everyone hates him, first off, you're racist. Second off, I don't know why you wouldn't want him on here. He's great. If he wasn't moving to Seattle, we would just replace Derek and be done with it, because he's abandoned us to South Carolina.
South Carolina. We wouldn't even need to replace Derek. He's never coming back.
Yeah, he's never coming back. So, that said, somewhat exciting news. Me and Derek do have plans. We are trying to get a full rig set up to where we can have 4 people on the podcast at a time, each with their own mic. So, we are accumulating the money and resources to try and get that done. So maybe in the future, we'll be able to, me, you, Derek, Super Van Tanya, or someone get on.
Oh, yeah, that'd be super awesome.
Yeah, do a podcast. Anyway, we have rambled on way too fucking long. Our bonus episode is a good, 15 minutes longer than the regular episode, but I'm okay with that, because Brandon's great. And as always, I'm great. A little drunk. But yeah, please email us, hit up anything TalesbyBob. Really, really want to hear from y'all. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. If you have my number, just shoot me a text. Be like, God, Bob, you're such a piece of shit. Sober the fuck up. Someone needs to tell me that. Anyway, as always, I'm going to end this with challenging you as your week approaches. I think I will probably post this on Tuesday or something like that. I may post it directly after the regular episode. We'll see. But as always, as you tackle your week, please go forth and grow a great beard.